What's going on, everyone? It's your man Cabuloso back with another video. We're diving deep into a question I get all the time: how to get those photos looking crazy sharp. Trust me, it's not just about having the most expensive gear. We're going to break down 5 simple tips that'll take your photography to the next level, no matter what you're shooting with. Let's do this. All right, first up, we're talking shutter speed. Think of it like this. The faster your shutter, the less time your camera has to capture movement. So if you're shooting something that's moving, your dog, a car, whatever, a fast shutter speed is your best friend. We're talking like 1/250th of a second or even faster. Now, how fast is fast enough? Well, that depends. Experiment. Start with a fast shutter speed and see what happens. You can always adjust it from there, but trust me, a fast shutter speed is the foundation of a sharp photo. Next up is focus. Focus is one of the most critical aspects of photography, yet it's often overlooked or misunderstood. Whether you're a seasoned professional or a budding enthusiast, mastering focus can make or break your images. This one seems obvious, right? You might think that focusing is as simple as pointing your camera and pressing the shutter button, but there's so much more to it than that. But you'd be surprised how many people miss the mark. Even the slightest miscalculation can result in a blurry, unusable photo. It's not just about getting the subject in focus, it's about ensuring that the focus enhances the story you're trying to tell. And when I say focus, I mean really nailing it. It's about precision and intention. It's about making sure that the viewer's eye is drawn exactly where you want it to go. Don't just rely on your camera's autofocus to pick what it thinks is important. Autofocus is a fantastic tool, but it's not infallible. It can be easily confused by complex scenes or low-light conditions. Instead, use a single focus point right in the center of your frame is usually a good bet. This method gives you the most control over what part of the image is sharpest. This gives you complete control. By selecting a single focus point, you can ensure that the most critical part of your image is in sharp focus. Put that focus point right on the subject's eye, especially in portrait photography. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and having them in sharp focus can make your portraits come alive. On the edge of that building, if you're shooting architecture, the details in the structure can be mesmerizing when captured with precision. Whatever it is you want people to see first, the focus point should guide the viewer's eye to the most important part of the image. This is how you guide the viewer's eye and create those tack-sharp images that pop. A well-focused image stands out and draws the viewer in, making them want to explore every detail. Another tip is to use a tripod whenever possible. This stabilizes your camera and allows you to fine-tune your focus without any camera shake. It's especially useful in low-light conditions or when using a slow shutter speed. If you're using a mirrorless camera, take advantage of focus peaking. This feature highlights the areas of your image that are in focus, making it easier to ensure that your subject is sharp. Live view mode can also be a game changer. Use it to zoom in on your subject and check the focus before you take the shot. This can help you catch any issues before it's too late. After you've taken your photos, review them on a larger screen. Zoom in to check the focus and make sure everything is as sharp as you intended. This step is crucial for catching any mistakes that might not be visible on the camera's small display. Practice makes perfect. Spend time practicing your focusing techniques in different scenarios. The more you practice, the more intuitive it will become, and the better your photos will be. Don't forget to adjust your focus settings for different types of photography. For fast-moving subjects, use continuous autofocus to keep them sharp as they move. For still subjects, single autofocus is usually sufficient. For landscapes, consider using manual focus. This allows you to set the focus exactly where you want it, ensuring that both the foreground and background are sharp. Use the depth of field preview button to see how much of your image will be in focus. This can help you make adjustments before you take the shot. For macro photography, focus becomes even more critical. The shallow depth of field means that even the slightest movement can throw your subject out of focus. Take your time and adjust carefully. Remember, the key to nailing focus is to be intentional and precise. Whether you're capturing a portrait, a landscape, or a fast-moving subject, taking the time to focus correctly will make all the difference in your final image. So, next time you're out with your camera, remember these tips. Nail your focus every time and watch your photography reach new heights. Chapter 3. Aperture: Finding the Sweet Spot. All right, now let's talk aperture. Aperture is one of the three pillars of photography, along with shutter speed and ISO. It's a crucial setting that can dramatically affect the look and feel of your photos. This is all about how much of your scene is in focus, your depth of field. Depth of field can be shallow, where only a small part of the image is in focus, or deep, where most or all of the image is in focus. For super sharp photos, you generally want a smaller aperture, which means a larger f number. The f number, or f-stop, controls the size of the aperture opening in your lens. A larger f number like f16 means a smaller opening, which allows less light to hit the camera sensor but increases the depth of field. Think f9, f11, f16, and even higher if your lens can handle it. These settings are great for landscape photography, where you want everything from the foreground to the background to be in sharp focus. Even higher if your lens can handle it. However, keep in mind that not all lenses perform well at their smallest apertures. Some lenses might introduce diffraction, which can reduce the overall sharpness of your image. This keeps more of your image in focus from the foreground to the background. This is particularly useful in landscape photography, where you want to capture the entire scene in sharp detail. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't a smaller aperture mean less light? You got it! A smaller aperture does mean less light reaches the camera sensor, which can make your photos darker. So you might need to compensate with a slower shutter speed or higher ISO. A slower shutter speed allows more light to hit the sensor over a longer period, but it can also introduce motion blur if your subject is moving or if you're shooting handheld. It's all about finding that balance. The exposure triangle, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO is a fundamental concept in photography. Each setting affects the other two, and finding the right balance is key to getting the perfect exposure for your shot. For example, if you're shooting in low light and need a smaller aperture for a deep depth of field, you might need to increase your ISO to avoid a too slow shutter speed. But be careful. Higher ISO settings can introduce noise into your photos, which can reduce image quality. So practice adjusting these settings and see how they affect your photos. With time and experience, you'll get a feel for finding that sweet spot where everything comes together perfectly. Chapter 4. Steady as a Rock Tripods and Techniques. In this chapter, we're diving deep into the world of tripods and the techniques you can use to keep your shots steady. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, mastering the art of stability is crucial for capturing those perfect moments. Even the slightest movement can turn a potentially epic shot into a blurry mess. Imagine spending hours setting up the perfect composition, only to have it ruined by an unsteady hand. Frustrating, right? That's why understanding how to keep your camera steady is so important. That's why it's crucial to keep your camera steady. A steady camera ensures that your images are sharp and clear, capturing every detail with precision. This is especially important in situations where you have limited light or are using a slow shutter speed. Now, I love a good tripod essential piece of kit, especially in low light. Tripods provide a solid foundation for your camera, allowing you to take long exposures without any risk of camera shake. This is particularly useful for night photography, where stability is key to capturing the beauty of the scene. But let's be real, sometimes you just gotta shoot handheld. There are moments when setting up a tripod just isn't practical. Maybe you're in a crowded place or you need to move quickly to capture the action. In these situations, knowing how to stabilize your camera without a tripod is invaluable. No worries, there are ways to stabilize yourself. By using proper techniques, you can minimize camera shake and still get sharp images. It's all about making your body work for you. Use your body as a tripod. Tuck your elbows in close to your body to create a stable base. This reduces the amount of movement and helps keep your camera steady. Tuck your elbows in, control your breathing, and find something solid to lean against. Controlling your breathing is another key factor. Take a deep breath, hold it, and gently press the shutter. This minimizes the movement caused by your breathing. And hey, don't be afraid to increase that ISO if you need to. While a lower ISO is ideal for reducing noise, sometimes you need to bump it up to get a faster shutter speed. This can help you avoid blurry shots, especially in low light conditions. Better a slightly grainy shot than a blurry one, right? A little bit of grain can be fixed in post-processing, but a blurry shot is much harder to salvage. So don't be afraid to make those adjustments on the fly to ensure you get the best possible shot. Let's talk about the different types of tripods available. There are lightweight travel tripods that are easy to carry around, perfect for those on-the-go moments. Then there are heavy-duty tripods that provide maximum stability, ideal for studio work or when you need that extra support. Setting up your tripod correctly is also crucial. Make sure the legs are fully extended and locked in place. Adjust the height to suit your shooting angle and ensure the camera is securely attached. A well-set-up tripod can make all the difference in your photography. Don't forget about monopods. They're a great alternative when you need some stability but don't want to carry a full tripod. Monopods are especially useful for sports and wildlife photography, where you need to move quickly and still get a steady shot. And for those who shoot video, a gimbal can be a game changer. Gimbals provide smooth, stable footage, even when you're on the move. They're perfect for capturing dynamic shots without the shake. There are also other accessories that can help with stabilization. Camera straps, bean bags, and even your camera bag can be used to steady your shot. Get creative and use what you have on hand to keep your camera steady. Remember, the goal is to capture sharp, clear images that tell your story. Whether you're using a tripod, handheld techniques, or other stabilization tools, the key is to practice and find what works best for you. Happy shooting! Chapter 5. Let There Be Light, the Sharpness Booster. Last but not least, let's talk about light. Good light is like magic for sharpness. Shooting in bright, even light is ideal. Avoid those harsh shadows and blown-out highlights. If you're shooting outdoors, the golden hours right after sunrise and before sunset are your best friend. Trust me, the light during those times is pure gold, and if you're stuck shooting in less than ideal conditions, don't stress. Embrace the shadows, use a reflector to bounce some light back in, or even get creative with artificial light sources. Outrow, stay sharp, my friends. So there you have it, 5 killer tips to help you capture those super sharp, jaw-dropping photos. Remember, it's all about understanding your gear, mastering the basics, and then getting out there and experimenting. Don't be afraid to break the rules and try something new, and most importantly, have fun with it. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you like what we do here. Every week, there is very rich content here in this tactical style, straight to the point. Until next time, peace out.